What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, and this video is my follow-up to how did we get here? So this time I have obviously a different game. This is a Mortal Kombat Mugen by the name of MK Complete with a K. It's a damn good Mugen. It's an amalgamation of the various Mortal Kombats. But this video is still about abortion. Specifically, I want to pontificate on why the Supreme Court went to the extreme measure of overturning Roe versus Wade. See, what happens is there's a bunch of rhetoric surrounding abortion that is fed to conservatives about how abortion kills babies and it's immoral because we're murdering babies and all that stuff. That's rhetoric. It's bullshit. It's hogwash. Not only is the rhetoric not an accurate description of what happens during abortion, it's not even the reason why conservatives in power oppose it. It has nothing to do with the children. It has everything to do with two things: racism and capitalism. Let me explain. So, there was this author, and I don't remember his name, and I'm not going to look it up because his ideas are trash. But he wrote about the phenomenon of the white population in America shrinking. He poised it as a huge problem. And obviously to them and other white supremacists, this is a problem because if you don't maintain your demographic majority in America, you can't hold on to your power. There's strength in numbers, so to speak. And so if you let the colored people be more numbered than white people in terms of population, you lose your strength. And so old boy proposed 3 solutions to this problem. One solution was to pay women to have children, like the European nations do. But he tossed that out as a potential solution because that would mean that you have to pay women of color to have babies, and they wouldn't want to do that. That's what the book said. The second solution that he espoused was increasing immigration to this country, bringing in more foreigners. But he discounted that idea because, again, this means that more colored immigrants would enter this country. And they wouldn't want to do that. And so then we get to this tertiary solution, which, as he said, would completely solve the white population problem. And that solution is to stop women from getting abortions. Mostly because 60% of all abortions at that time were done by white mothers. And so if you stop that 60% specifically from aborting their white children, the white population would no longer be shrinking. That's racist as shit. That's racist as hell. And this author's not just some rinky-dink guy, you know, who's just sitting at his computer. I mean, this book was written in 1987, and the author was close to people in power. I mean, he worked in multiple presidential administrations, so this is somebody that was close to the person with their hands on the nuclear button and all that, you know. But this may sound conspiratorial at first, but then you consider what else is happening in conservative circles, such as Fox News and Tucker Carlson getting their audience acclimated to the Great Replacement Theory, which is this idea that Democrats want to replace hard-working voting Americans with non-voters, or not non-voters, non-Americans who vote Democrat and steal elections from Republican candidates. Now, who are the quote-unquote hard-working Americans that are getting stolen from? White people. So this Great Replacement Theory is really about white people being replaced. Doing a little bit of dog whistling there. Okay. So there's that. Not to mention, the Confederate monuments protests in Charlottesville in 2017. I want to say it was in Virginia, but it was in some southern state when Trump was president. You had a bunch of angry conservative white men gathering up and protesting, you know, bearing tiki torches and flame. And what were one of the things that they shouted into the camera as a means of protest? Jews will not replace us. So, you know, right-wing commentators are scaring their audiences against being replaced. Actual racists are declaring that they won't be replaced. And we have trash-ass white supremacist authors writing about stopping the white population from being replaced. Not a coincidence. They want to keep that white population high, and abortion was in the way of that. Because as it turns out, a whole bunch of white women didn't want to be stuck at home raising children. They wanted to, I don't know, have rights and freedom, just like everybody else. And abortion gets in the way of that. So, or abortion was their ticket to having said freedom. And so, by getting rid of that, you keep that white population high. But I also said that capitalism was another reason for this. And let's think about it. Let's think about the role of capitalism. Very little of what happens in this country, especially policy-wise, is done without the influence or the possibility of extracting major dollars out of it. And this abortion is no different. This abortion thing is no different, because here's the thing. When you have more people being born, those people become taxpayers, whether they want to pay tax or not. But moreover, these people become laborers to be exploited by businesses. You have a shrinking population of white people who are probably the largest individual tax base group, you have less and less people having children. That's less and less tax revenue collected by the government. That's less and less of a labor force to be exploited by corporations and big businesses and millionaires and billionaires and things of that nature. They need this thing to keep turning, and they need laborers to keep it turning. By letting women abort, hundreds of thousands or millions of potential laborers every year, that's money on the table that they not getting, so there's that. Also, given the fact that America's becoming more tolerant of drug use and more amenable to the idea of releasing non-violent drug offenders from prison, the billionaires that profit off of the prison industry, they're looking down the road and they're realizing, hey, we need a new source of labor. Who are we going to put in these prisons if it's not niggas over weed? And I think they found their next labor source. Women who get abortions. Think about it. They're the perfect scapegoats. Here you have this monstrous woman who doesn't want to take care of her child, and she's murdering innocent babies. This is the perfect person to throw in prison for 15 years and extract free labor out of them. And the public's not going to care because Americans hate prisoners, and it has a contempt for women as it is. And so if you have a female prisoner, that's the best of both worlds right there. Sounds cynical, but it's based on reality, based on observation. And so this labor pool, to me, it's too tantalizing for capitalists not to try to take advantage of. And then also, this sort of ties back into the racism point, but given the absurdly high amount of maternal mortality that occurs from childbirth in this country compared to other developed nations, compounded with the fact that 3 times as many black mothers die during childbirth as white women, getting rid of abortion accomplishes 2 goals. It accomplishes the goal of having more white babies be born, but it also accomplishes the sub-goal of killing more black women, because black mothers die at a higher rate than white mothers do during childbirth. And so you put those 2 things together, that's a 2-for-1 special. And so, yeah, racism and capitalism once again intersect to signal the end of legal and safe abortions. And then, I was going to say, when you take those 2 reasons into consideration, conservatives' next moves post the end of abortion make a lot more sense in context, because Justice Clarence Thomas indicated that the same methodology that was used to overturn Roe versus Wade could also be applied to other cases, and he listed specific cases. And those cases established the right of homosexual couples to get married. It established the right for homosexual couples to exist, period. And then it also established the right to contraception, the right to use and have access to contraception. Now let's think about all of that. Why would conservatives want to get rid of homosexual couples, stop them from getting married, and then stop people from having access to contraception? Well, it's obvious now. Gay couples don't have kids, at least in their simplistic ass minds. Gay couples can't bear children. And if you stop gay couples, you ensure that the only marriages that actually happen are straight marriages. And then in those straight marriages, if you say, hey, you don't have access to contraception, well, now you give people no choice but to have babies. And thereby, have more laborers and workers and stuff like that, and keep the white population strong and numerous. I know this is all very heavy, and I admit I'm speculating heavily, but I'm not speculating without evidence. This is not just coming out of the thin air. This is coming from, observations, people's writings and people's behavior. I mean, for fuck's sake, there is this stupid ass female politician that showed up at a Trump rally, and she was making a speech, and she applauded Trump for, what happened with Roe versus Wade. And she said to the crowd, this is a preservation of white life. And the crowd cheered. So they're kind of giving away the game here. She didn't mention anything about children being protected. She didn't mention anything about being pro-life. This is not about life. This is not about children. This is about white life. White people maintaining the control that they have by taking control of their demographics. And y'all need to understand that it ain't gonna stop with this. And so it is our responsibility as American citizens to try to stop this shit. We need to oppose this as vehemently as we can, because it ain't gonna stop here. It won't. Racism never stops, it only adapts. And so we gotta put a stop to it. Alright? But yeah, that's been my little TED talk on why we are in the spot that we're in with abortion. And so I appreciate it if you made it this far into the video. I hope I've given you food for thought. Peace.